Hey guys, I'm back for another video, and this one is actually a video response to Ferg, who did his top 20 superhero slash comic book films. So basically, as soon as he told me about that, I said, I'm gonna get in on this because, you know, everyone knows, or should know, I love the whole superhero comic book thing. I consider myself quite a geek, so I'm just gonna jump right into her here. I just want to say though first, like Ferg said in his video, it is my opinion, so just please don't freak out at me and be mad at me for anything you don't agree with. Although feel free to comment on it, and please, I will say this: if you would like, either comment on your top 20 or 10 in the bottom, or make a video response. Video responses are cool. So let's start off here with number 20. We've got the Daredevil director's cut. For those of you who haven't seen this and you've only seen the theatrical cut of Daredevil, you need to go out and see this. You need to go out and get this edition because it makes a not so great film a good film. And it's even though they still keep a few goofy things in here like the park scene and stuff like that, and the casting of Jennifer Garner is questionable, but it adds layers to this film. It adds 30 minutes. There's things make sense now. Things aren't all confusing and such. You know, and it just makes it a better all-around story, and I think everyone can enjoy it. Coming up number 19, we've got The Incredible Hulk with Ed Norton. This is Marvel Studios' second go round at producing their own films, and second go round at the Hulk, just in general on the big screen. And this film works so much better than Ang Lee's Hulk. I do not like that film. It's just like Edward Norton is a great Bruce Banner. Like I thought, like the cast in all these films are just great. Uh, and yeah, and you've got Ed Norton just traipsing around as Bruce Banner, and the Hulk, even like the Hulk, like CGI Hulk, looks better, and the ties to the other Marvel films with like Tony Stark, and you've got mention of the super soldier formula is just all brilliant. So yeah, that was the Incredible Hulk. Then at number 18, we've got Batman Returns. Tim Burton's second go round at doing the Batman franchise. This I think is Tim Burton's. This is better than Batman '89. I loved how dark this film was, and you've got like I rewatched this prior to making this video, and Michael Keaton really seems like Batman in this. Like just when the Penguin comes around and reveals himself to the city, and Bruce just isn't having any of that. He's just suspicious right from the get go. That's Batman to me. That just sums up Batman in a nutshell. Not Doesn't trust anyone, and I thought Michael Keaton did a great job. And it really is, when you think about it, it is quite a freaky film. But I love how dark it went, and it's a shame that they had to go back to lighter stuff in Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. But you know, this film is just awesome. Best of the '90s live action ones, in my opinion. Then at number 17, we've got Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker. Now this is I've got a few animated films on this list, but this one, it's really Terry's story. A part of it is Terry's story, and a lot of it is Bruce and like what happened back in the day with the Joker, like his final hurrah with the Joker there before he died. And the voice acting in this is incredible. Mark Hamill, Kevin Conroy, they all just Will Friedle, they just bring everything to the table, and they just do a really great job. And I love the whole flashback scene that shows Batman's final fight with the Joker. It's quite brilliant and dark, and you've got some great stuff with Tim Drake in there. So that was that. Number 16, we've got Thor. Yes, Thor. Marvel Studios' fourth film. It's so kind of fantastic. Like everything, like Asgard and stuff, looked great. And Chris Hemsworth does quite a great job as Thor. And basically, I didn't really have an interest in Thor until I saw the previews for this. So this movie made me care about Thor and just another piece of the puzzle before the Avengers comes out. Number 15 is Blade 2, my favorite of the Blade series. It just, it's just so awesome. It's just amps things up from the first one, like just time, like by 100. It's just so much better. Well, and I'm not bashing on the first one either. First one's great. It's Blade Trinity that sucks, but Blade 2 just uh, has so many great scenes, and have Blade teaming up with the vampires, and you find out more about the vampires and like the vampire where like the servants there, and Ron Perlman's in it, Guillermo del Toro's directing. It's just such an awesome film. The only thing I really didn't care for was I just thought they copped out with Whistler from the first film, but I can quickly disregard that because Whistler is awesome. Number 14, I've got another animated one, Batman Under the Red Hood. This is one of the like DC Universe animated originals, and it's an adaptation of the Under the Hood storyline in the comics, which I haven't read, but it's quite a dark story. It's but the film starts off with Jason Todd getting beat to death by the Joker, and that's an animated film. you know, I've always been a fan of movies like these, like Batman movies like these, are just go dark like that, and the film just ends on like such a heartbreaking note, I find. And the voice acting, even though Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill aren't doing the Joker in this, I thought that Bruce Greenwood and John DiMaggio did great jobs. Is it John or Joe? I think it's John. And Jensen Ackles is like first time voice acting, does Red Hood, does just a fantastic job, and it's very enjoyable film. For number 13, we've got the first Spider-Man film. Now this film, I say this a lot, but like X-Men and Blade and X-Men really, kind of got people interested in comic book movies again. Spider-Man changed things for the better. You know, once Spider-Man came along, you realize you could do, different things. You could have a guy wearing a latex suit or whatever and have it not look ridiculous. And, Spider-Man just kind of changed the whole superhero genre in movies as we know it, or I like to think so anyway. So yeah, this really just, you know, I think everyone really owes a lot to the like this first Spider-Man film. And I am excited to see the Amazing Spider-Man. I think that is going to be great. Could even be better than this one. So next year is going to be awesome. Then number 12, we've got Iron Man with Robert Downey Jr. So yeah, Iron Man is basically Robert Downey Jr. Like him and Tony, he just does such a fantastic job of, kind of being a different hero, being like the snarky asshole of a hero who we all do care about. And this is Marvel Studios. Again, their first kind of the first piece of the puzzle before the Avengers, and like you got that whole Easter egg at the end with Sam Jackson as Nick Fury, and I just remember watching that for the first time, just getting goosebumps because you know, like you just know what's coming, and like next year when you think about it, we'll have all waited 4 years for the Avengers. So yeah, that's Iron Man. Number 11 is Watchmen. I just finished a couple days ago reading the graphic novel for the first time. It actually took me a couple days, and like in most cases, the graphic novel is better than the book. And that, which isn't to say that it's not a good movie. It is a great movie. It's epic. It's like 3 hours long, and people said people said it was unfilmable, and Zack Snyder proved them wrong. And I just thought the cast was great, except really the guy who played Ozymandias. I think he's a good actor, but I just didn't think he kind of suited that role very well, because when reading the graphic novel, I figured Ozymandias a little more, I suppose, bigger and bulkier and a little manlier, I guess. Maybe that's just me. But yeah, and so yeah, to the people who said it was unfilmable, and no disrespect towards Alan Moore, because he's a great writer, but, suck on that. Heading into the top 10, we've got Hellboy 2, The Golden Army. Now, Guillermo del Toro is very good at doing all these fantasy type movies with Hellboy and stuff, and he's done Blade 2, Hellboy, Pan's Labyrinth, and there's a lot of, you can tell there's like a lot of his past work in this, especially like the monsters and stuff are very kind of Pan's Labyrinthy. I'm just gonna coin that phrase. It really did feel like that, and Ron Perlman just makes a great Hellboy. You can tell he's having fun, and just the whole cast is great, and like everyone's having fun on these films, and just kicking ass and taking names. Number 9 is Captain America: The First Avenger with Chris Evans as Cap. Now, a lot of people were like kind of bashing Chris Evans because he played the Human Torch and stuff, and I really didn't mind. I don't really care if anyone's played superheroes prior as long as they do a good job. And Steve Rogers is so much different is such a different character from Johnny Storm, and Chris Evans really knew what he was doing here, and he did a great job. Now, with that said, I just love that it was a period piece superhero film, like set during the war, and it was just really hardcore, awesome, and lots of action. And another one with like a heartbreaking ending that just seriously cannot wait to rewatch this film because I just had such a blast with it. Then at number 8, we've got Batman: Mask of the Phantasm, the best Batman animated movie out there. And this one's based off the animated series, kind of takes place somewhere in the middle there. But it really just shows the animated Bruce Wayne's, I guess, his early start trying to get into Batman, and how he almost how he almost wasn't Batman, and just all these things. And you've got the Phantasm, which is kind of a new villain come to town, and it's just, again, voice acting in these films are just amazing. Like, for me, Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill will always be Batman and the Joker. They're the best. People say Christian Bale and Heath Ledger. No, they aren't the best Batman and Joker. Mark Hamill, for me, is the best Joker. He's got the best laugh, everything. It's great. So, if you haven't seen this, I highly recommend you go out and check it out, because people really don't. I suppose people really don't know about it a whole lot, which is a shame because they are missing out. So, check that out. Number 7, got X-Men: First Class, another period piece superhero film, which I thought worked on so many levels. Just it felt so right, it being set in the 60s, and it felt like an actual X-Men film again, not Wolverine featuring the X-Men, if you know what I mean. It's not my favorite of the X-Men films, I'll tell you that, but it's up there and it's close. And there are quite a few continuity goofs, but I can forgive that, and I can just go down and sit and watch it and just have a blast. And for people who are worried who haven't seen this yet, who are worried it could be like Wolverine or The Last Stand, don't. It's way better than those two films. Those two films we'll just forget those. Just watch this and enjoy it. Number 6 is Iron Man 2. Jeez, I'm speechless. Iron Man 2 just really transitions. It's a good transition from Iron Man to Iron Man 2. I mean, Iron Man was very much the origin and him setting up and setting up to be Iron Man. This one, he's Iron Man full time. And what really helps this movie is, like, you've got S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of like a more dominant presence throughout than they were in the first one. The first one they're still kind of mysterious, but here you've got Black Widow, Agent Coulson, and Nick Fury all in like kind of bigger roles. Well, Coulson and Fury anyway. Black Widow wasn't in the first one, but just the cast is really great, and there is quite a bit to this film, and they just it works so well, and it's so fun. And again, Robert Downey Jr. just owns it, and I really can't wait to see him on screen with the other heroes in the Avengers to see how they play off each other. I think it's gonna be quite a fun time. Now for the top five, got X-Men 2 or X2, X-Men United. So yeah, this is my favorite of the X-Men films. I just love how it does good with a lot of like stuff drawn to Wolverine's past. Even though I'm not I like Wolverine as much as the next guy, but I don't like how all three films just seem to be about him, like the first three films, or well, hell, four because he even got his own film. But this one, there's lots of good teamwork stuff, and they bring like the younger heroes into it, uh, Pyro and Iceman uh, have like greater roles in this, and you kind of see Iceman or not Iceman, Pyro's I guess a little descent to the not really the dark side, but he just kind of wanders over. He doesn't turn evil, but that's part of the problem with X3. But I'm not going to get into X3. This one's just awesome. Alan Cumming as Nightcrawler. He was one of the highlights of this film. Like the makeup was so good on him, and yeah, it was great. So it was X-Men 2. Now we've got Kick-Ass at number 4. Yeah, number 4. Kick-Ass is a blast. I don't know how you can watch this film and not have fun. It's just got some of the best action scenes I've ever seen. Chloe Grace Moretz, she just steals the whole movie as Hit Girl. Hit Girl is probably the best part of the movie, and just like a big part of what I like about this film is like so many geeky comic book references, and like as I was saying earlier, you've got with Watchmen, like the book is usually better than the movie. Well, this one is the movie's better than the book because I just love that the geek gets the girl. You know that's brownie points for me. If you want to make a movie that'll impress me, have the geek get the girl and have it just be awesome. And Kick-Ass just does a great job. Nicolas Cage is so a lot of people hate on Nicolas Cage, but I figured this film was just something that he really had time to shine in, and you got McLovin and everything. Now we've got Batman Begins at number 3. Batman Begins, I can't really say anything that hasn't already been said. Christopher Nolan just took the Batman franchise and he just breathed new life into it and gave us a film that was about Bruce Wayne even more than it was about Batman. Got into Bruce Wayne and his psyche and what made him tick, and you got to see his training and everything, and it just his journey to rid Gotham of just all the bad shit that goes on there. And I just find people really love The Dark Knight a lot, but I do think people seem to forget about this one sometimes, which is a shame because it is great. So that was Batman Begins. Number 2, and as soon as you see my number 2, you'll probably know what my number 1 is. But number 2 is Spider-Man 2. I just rewatched this one recently as well. And Spider-Man 2, best Spider-Man film. Just without a doubt. You get into you've got like very much like Iron Man 1. It's an origin just like Spider-Man 1, and the sequel has them just as Spider-Man full time. It seems like as the hero full time, and it was just I loved it. It's really all I can say is I loved it, and I just loved seeing Peter Parker doubt himself, and very much kind of like It's a Wonderful Life in a way, where Spider-Man, George Bailey is Spider-Man, and they do everything for everyone and get such, praise and acclaim, and but they can't catch a break. They do good things for other people, but they themselves in their personal lives can't get a break. And I just think that's I think some people may find it's a weird comparison, but I just, for me, it's one that works. And I love seeing Peter Parker just kind of give it up and then realize that people do need Spider-Man, and he needs Spider-Man. So yeah, Spider-Man 2. Oh, and a little bit of trivia there. Jeff Winger from Community is in this, and I forgot to say it for Spider-Man 1, but Allseed from True Blood plays Flash Thompson in Spider-Man 1, or the first Spider-Man. And if you haven't already guessed it, I don't know what you were thinking, but The Dark Knight as number 1. I will say that my top three were very close, so any one of them could have been number 1. And The Dark Knight is just, it really is a brilliant film. It's films like these that make people, think that, superhero films aren't stupid. You can actually, they can actually sit down and watch a superhero film and not think it's stupid. And The Dark Knight even doubles up as a crime film, like also along with a superhero film. And it's just, it's a good continuation of Bruce Wayne as Batman. And it kicks ass on so many levels. And you've got like the cast in this film, like Heath Ledger, Aaron Eckhart, Gary Oldman, like everyone, Maggie Gyllenhaal, even, they all just work so well together. And Christopher Nolan, props to you, my man, for just bringing this to us. And I can't wait for The Dark Knight Rises next year. I think it's, I trust Nolan, so I think he's going to give us something special. But yeah, and with that said, that's probably the end of the video. I really can't say anything more about The Dark Knight that hasn't already been said. But, there are quite a few comic book films coming out next year, which, will probably make this list. So maybe sometime, at some point down the road, I'll do kind of a redux, because the thing is, there's new comic book movies coming out every year. So, the list is constantly changing. Like, just from this year alone, I've probably got like 2 or 3 on the list that come out this year. So it's, I love my comic book films. So just thank you all for watching, and check out Ferg's video, the original video, and make a video response. So until next time, have a good one.